CEO has a great history. It started back in 1964. President Lyndon Johnson developed the Economic Opportunity Act. The whole goal behind it was to provide people with the resources that they needed to overcome poverty. The early funding came from the Economic Opportunity Act, and the first program back in 1964 was our Head Start program. We developed over the years into having over 20 different programs, all aimed at serving the low-income community. We, on the average, every year serve about 15,000 individuals in our community. Over the history of CEO, we've served over 500,000 plus individuals. We take a very holistic approach, and that we have a roadmap to services. So you might come in at one point needing food pantry services, but we will offer the roadmap of services that help you find your path to self-sufficiency.
It is difficult to ask for help, and I'm so glad that people are here to relay their stories, because I don't believe there's any better way to seek to ask for help than if I can identify with someone who has been in the same boat I was and needed help the same way I did. And, maybe I can do the same thing.
I was a typical teenager attending Troy High. My plans were to finish high school. I was 2 grades behind because of a language barrier. I'm Latin, so I speak Spanish. And also, I just never had confidence in myself. I never could study. I just felt like I never had the proper help. So I decided that my sophomore year, I would stop attending. I signed up for GED prep, and when it came time to take the test, I didn't pass it, so I didn't get my GED at that time. That's when I found out that I was a few months pregnant with my son. And I decided to just full-time work and take care of him and make sure he had what he needed. It took me about 2 years to finally sign up for Youth Build.
CEO Youth Build is a 7-month workforce development program that serves 16 to 24-year-old at-risk youth. They haven't been successful in the traditional school environment. Sometimes they are parents themselves. Sometimes they have some kind of criminal activity in their past. Many times they are just struggling with learning disabilities or didn't get the support they needed academically. Our goal is to remove obstacles and barriers that have kept them from being successful. The program is divided up into a few elements. They spend 50% of their time in the classroom preparing for their high school equivalency, or for college if they do come in with a high school diploma. 10% of their time is spent in what we call professional development. Resumes, interviewing skills, all those soft work employability skills.
It's very important how we dress, what we wear, how we present ourselves, okay?
And then 40% of their time, they're in a construction lab or on a work site learning how to build or rehab low-income housing. Being able to see the product of working with your hands and having, being able to drive by a community and say, oh, we built that house, or we made those benches in that park. We contributed to our community. Those are all life-changing things that occur here. Nilka was able to really grab hold of every opportunity that we presented in program. If we offered something, she wanted to do it.
I started feeling more confident. So when it came time around to do a quiz, I would answer the questions like flying colors. Youth Build helped me with a lot of different things. I've got my high school equivalency. I got certifications, and I received the Star Award for trying to continue my education and continuing work. And I received a scholarship that will help me study to be a licensed optician. And I got to go to Washington.
We sent her to DC to represent the program at an AmeriCorps Conference of Young Leaders. She's just a really shining star representative of what the possibilities are when you take advantage of every opportunity the program offers.
It's not only about the education or the construction or any of the certifications. It's a family that you build while you're in this program.
I really call our program a transformational program. If you just want to get your HSE, your high school equivalency, you can go down the street to a high school equivalency program. If you want to transform your life, you come to Youth Build. Working here is a lot like parenting. You know, what every parent wants for their child, we want for all of our young people that come through this program.
The thing that drives me to stay focused and keep going is my son. Thanks to CEO and Youth Build, I can give my son a better future than what myself and my mother had.
I knew that I needed some work done in my house. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna go down to the city and ask them about, what kind of things they do. And the guy said, have you ever heard of CEO? And I said, yeah. I said, I worked for CEO for like 34 plus years. He said, they have a program called weatherization. Maybe that's a program you might want to check out. And I'm like, okay. I got a call from them like maybe a couple of days later, and they gave me a timeline. They got started with the installation. While they had opened up the wall, one of the gentlemen said, part of your chimney has collapsed. If they did not go into those walls, I would have not known. My goodness, they could have saved my life. Then they insulated the basement, rebuilt my furnace, and I was pleasantly surprised because I did not expect them to do all of that. I just thought, they'll be in and out in a couple of days and they'll be gone. I mean, they actually worked their butt off. I mean, they really did. And they got carbon monoxide detectors, and they installed them in all the rooms. After the work was completed, there was another gentleman that came in to inspect the work, and I was like, whoa, this is really thorough. One of the most pleasing things is my heating bill was a fraction of what it was. My house is much more comfortable. I would recommend the program to everybody.
Our department is called Family Support Services. We work with families in Rensselaer County who have children with social, emotional, or behavioral challenges, and they decide what that help might look like. Our real goal is to give families voice. Even though families are very capable, we still may be that support that they need to remind them that you can do it. It could be in any system. So it could be down at court, it could be at schools.
If the child has been suspended, they have a meeting with the principal, we go there with them. Or sometimes the main barrier is transportation. We're able to provide transportation for them to get there.
At these meetings, sometimes you have to be the advocate. So it could be as simple as, don't forget you were going to say something about, so to remind the family and helping that family advocate.
We are actually both part of different committees in the community. One of them is CDC, which is probation, and then we also have single point of access. And usually we have families that are looking for some case management. When you're in the system, sometimes what the family would want, it kind of gets lost. So when one of us sit down in those meetings, we actually there to provide that feedback as a family member.
One of the goals that we have as a service is to remind people of their successes. And with Zen Support Group, we do that a lot. It's for families, by families, and the whole purpose of the support group is to share experiences. So it allows families who are struggling to hear what other families had done that worked or didn't work.
I have an autistic son, and I was actually at a doctor's visit and saw an advertisement for the Wits End meetings. And so when I reached out to CEO and the Family Support Services, it was eye-opening. I found other families that were going through the same thing I was. When I'm feeling down, they help bring me back up. When I went and got James into kindergarten, we did try to mainstream him, and by December, he was expelled from that school. I always felt like I had to agree with everything the school said because they're the school. Having Family Support Services go in with me, I realized I didn't have to agree with their expulsion. I could, demand that we have other services put in place. they helped me build that confidence to do that. Having family support services help me through that was just great. It was like a huge weight lifted right off my shoulders.
Janice is a great example of coming and sharing what her experiences have been, and parents can look at her and go, wow, she made it through the tunnel and the other side and didn't get hit by the train. I think we can do the same.
If I didn't have anybody to get me through that point, I don't even think James would be where he is now. Now he's in 4th grade and doing well.
CEO holds the WIC grant, and WIC is a Women, Infants, and Children program. It's a supplemental nutrition program for eligible women, infants, and children. The WIC program targets pregnant women, postpartum women, and breastfeeding women, infants, and children up to age 5. When they come into the program, as long as they're eligible, they receive nutrition education. We do health assessments on them, goal setting, risk assessment, and then we provide breastfeeding support and education as well. We give them food vouchers for healthy foods, and we also provide community referrals. We are the Rensselaer County WIC program. You do not need to be a Rensselaer County resident to get our services. You just have to be a New York State resident.
I was out of work during my pregnancy, per doctor's orders, and financially it was penny to penny every single day, and WIC helped put that food on the table that I couldn't do by myself.
Victoria walked into this program just as a consumer, not having any idea that we were going to change her life.
When I had my son, he was a few months old, and there was a position, posted. And I remember interviewing for the posted job, and I was in the middle of the grocery store using my WIC checks, and the person who interviewed me called, and I screamed and jumped and said, oh my goodness, I got the job. And now I'm a WIC breastfeeding peer counselor.
Victoria has come along so well, and we are so honored to have her in our program. She has gone above and beyond, not only for our program, but for our moms. Not many people, feel so much passion about what they do.
I tell them about my personal experience because I feel like if they hear about my personal experience, that will really tell them they are not alone. WIC for me is community. Moms getting together for our breastfeeding support group, and all these moms are talking about their experiences. Mom A is completely different from Mom B. My goal is to make sure that, I connect with them.
How does Spider-Man swing from his web? How many times does he do it?
I'm so happy to be a part of helping these moms the way that the program helped me.
Whether it be the breastfeeding support, giving you referrals that you need, or just the nutrition education, WIC's really here to help.
I feel like CEO WIC has made me a more positive person. I always knew that I wanted to help out people, but now I feel like there's a place for me. Like I've never had that confidence before. In life and family and work, I've never had what, WIC and CEO, gave me.
There's no mansion on the hill. There's no big executive office building. We run this operation to serve the community.
It's about giving back to a community where you're from, where you live, and changing people's lives that have nothing.
It's not just people getting a paycheck here. It's actually people that have feelings for the things that you're going through, and they go home, and I know for a fact they go home because a couple of them have told me, I went home and I've thought about your situation, and it wasn't like I just turned it off at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock when I walked out the door. I literally thought about it over the weekend and thought about it, and they come back on Monday and they share all their thoughts. So it's not just somebody in a building collecting a paycheck. They do care.
So many people don't even know what CEO consists of. And when you tell them about the services, it can be life-changing.
You only know what you know. I always recommend the services in this building because when there's a program out there, you definitely should utilize it.
The more we can make our community aware, the better.
It's amazing every day to see the differences that we're making in the lives of the people that we serve, and we learn from the people that we serve, and we're honored to be able to serve them.